Hi, everybody. My name is Elder Cheryl. Hey, Elder Cheryl. I'm so accustomed to that. Get that off of there.
No, keep
Delete.
going.
No.
I am.
Delete.
No, because we can do it for bloopers or
Okay.
something. It's
All right.
showing us the real side. So you can do
No.
stuff with it. Keep going.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elder Gloria.
And I'm Pastor Cheryl.
Minister Shannon.
I'm mother.
I'm daughter.
And I'm granddaughter. And we were sitting and talking about how COVID-19 has affected our lives in so many different ways. And we were just snowballing some different things and what our future is going to look like. So we just wanted to get everyone else in on the conversation because we came up with some really great things that I don't think people are thinking about and should start planning for. So we'll just jump right in. One of the things that we were thinking of is housing. So who wants to start with housing?
Well, I'll start. Housing is one of the most important things that we've been talking about. It seems that housing, because people are in such congested areas, they're living so close together. That's one of the reasons that the coronavirus has spread so much.
And what I've heard is that the rent is going to increase to a point where people might not be able to afford it.
And I would say rent is going to increase because they're going to have to put into practice how to make the units further away or how to keep the 6-foot rule in effect when going in and out of the entrances and exits and parking and so many other things that we probably don't have any capacity to think about.
Well, did you think about the idea, like you said, with the parking, and then what about the units themselves? They're going to have to be redesigned.
That's
Really?
true.
Yeah, and if they had elevators, you can't have too many people on the elevators together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
hmm
And the moving people, how they're going to get in and out with the moving people too.
hmm
That's a lot of different things. That's just some of the many topics you would have to think about when living in an apartment or closed-in facilities.
And what about the apartments where you have facilities like gyms? You eat together. You swim together. You do all of that. So what about those facilities?
That's true too. So then that would bring us to what about nursing facilities?
That's horrendous. That's hard to think about because in a nursing center or a long care center, they are really, they have 2 beds usually in a room. And there's what do you do? Kick one person out of the room? I don't think so.
Because and then it costs more to have a separated room.
Yes,
when you
it
have
does.
someone by themselves in a room, now the price of the room goes up.
Exactly.
And you also have to think about the fact that you have to have qualified people, people who need to be qualified to take care of your loved ones. They don't pay them enough in these facilities, so they have to increase the pay in order to get qualified people.
Yeah.
And what about not only the pay? Think about the nursing facilities now. They're not staffed enough.
No.
They don't have enough beds. They don't have enough equipment in them already. Now put COVID in there, social distancing in
And
there.
think about the staff. Now you have to, not all facilities, but you have some people who are just there for the money. You have people there who are not qualified to do the job. They haven't done a sufficient background check on people. And so the people are not being cared for like they should be.
Yes. There was another point that I was wanting to make with that one. What about if you cannot afford to keep your parents or your grandparents, your aunt, your uncle in a nursing facility, but they require around the clock care? How do you then care for them? Because now you have to bring them home and you work. So what do you do in that situation? How do you prepare your own home to get them ready to get there? Do you go out and get a nurse? Do you stop working? Do y'all have any comments?
Well, I work with a lot of the information that has to do with people in nursing homes and facilities. So the cost alone, if you could hear some of the comments that are made about who's going to pay what amount, if Medicare is going to take care of it, if they're not going to take care of it. Just the numbers alone are costly. And so I hear people making decisions as to who's going to take them, we're not going to take them, what we're going to give them, what we're going to feed them. It's a lot involved in that.
And then with some patients who are in these long-term facilities or a nursing home, they have to have special care because you have to go to school to learn how to lift them. Mm-hmm. You have to have certification to do those kind of things. Mm-hmm. So who's going to do that? If you're working, how can you go to school to learn how to take care of the individual that's coming to live with you? Mm-hmm. And then what do you do with your house? Mm-hmm. If you've got children, you've got animals, you've got all, and your house has been set up a certain way. Mm-hmm. Now you're going to have to restructure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely.
And being that I work in customer service, I get the phone calls where there are older people taking care of their elderly parents. Mm-hmm. So they are wondering what type of leave they can take in order to take care of them. And in some cases, the leave is not covered because it's not the person themselves that have to be out. They're being out to take care of their parent, which is not covered under some of the leave requests. So that then becomes an issue for them working. That they have to either figure out how, if they're in if they're married, if there's a married couple, one works during the day and one works in the evening. So they're always passing each other. Mm-hmm. They don't ever get that family quality time. That just snowballs. That's a whole another conversation, but that's another thing to think about. How do you have the proper scheduling for the parent that you're taking care of?
But the most important thing is the economics involved. Yes. Medicare, Medicaid, they're trying to take it away altogether. You already know that some people who are marginalized and some people who don't have the ability to afford health care, mm-hmm. What are they going to do?
So that then leads into healthcare itself. I'm thinking that the cost is going to increase just like everything else right mm-hmm. now. Mm-hmm. The cost of healthcare is going to skyrocket dramatically because they're going to have to recover all that they've lost so far, mm-hmm. all that's going on, and then they have to remodel as well. So they have to put in those social distancing practices that they've already started, but that's just in order to get through this phase right now. Mm-hmm. What is the future looking like? They've already been moving to the virtual doctors. Mm-hmm. So we now don't get to go in to see our doctor anymore. Are they going to properly care for us? Are they properly going to diagnose us? It's right. A lot of things that we're going to have to think about in how we do healthcare.
And what about the food? What about someone who's on a special diet? What about, older people, they don't generally have a diet that consists of them being able to sit at the table and eat mm-hmm. dinner with the family. They may have something special that they need. They may have a stomach tube. There could be any number of things that will throw things out of whack.
I remember working in a nursing care facility and having to feed 6 people in an hour was, I can't even put that to words. Mm-hmm. Trying to get people who couldn't feed themselves, trying to get them all fed before bedtime was crazy. Mm-hmm. And we 9 times out of 10 were short-staffed. Mm-hmm. That it was an astronomical task most days that I had to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you have to think about the cost of medication and what that will skyrocket to, because you're going to have more people sick because they're not being cared for properly. And so they're going to have more medications. And I can tell you just some of the, again, cost of dialysing people, giving them medications, prescriptions, and doctors just taking cold advantage, of people with all of kinds of diseases that are in these facilities. So, I mean, some people really, they're getting costs that are really not according to their register or registry. Mm-hmm. So you'd be surprised.
And what about a hospital bed? What about a special chair that they have to sit in? Mm-hmm. What about ambulatory services like that? Things that they have to have.
Services.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. It becomes monumental when you think about it.
which then we thought about something that I'm pretty sure should be on everyone's mind: a vaccination. What if the only way you could go back to work or send your children to school was being vaccinated for COVID-19? I myself am not looking forward to the vaccination, only because it's not going to be tested. We don't know what it's going to do, how it's going to have long-term effects. I'm all for a vaccination that works, but we do not know what that outcome is going to be. So what are you going to do? Are you ready to go to work and have them say, you can't come in until you get vaccinated? And we don't know if the vaccine even works yet.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
What if you cannot go to an interview, or you can't be hired until you prove that you had the vaccination?
Or maybe travel. What about the fact that you can't go on a plane or a train unless you prove that you've been vaccinated?
And think about the population of, I don't know what the Jewish population who don't believe in the vaccination, who don't believe in the medication, who don't believe in doing a whole lot of things that we normally would do. I mean, they didn't even when the corona hit, and everybody was talking about social distancing, and everybody's talking about masks. They absolutely did not do it and would not do it.
Refused.
So what do you do in that case? You can't force anyone to take the vaccine. Can you put them in jail if they don't? I mean, what?
Wow.
I mean, at my age, I'm 76. I don't think I'd want to take any vaccine that they don't know a lot about.
Right. And I wouldn't want to put my children through that
At
as
risk,
well.
yeah.
And what if you get a bad one? Everyone else has good vaccine, but you get the bad one that messes you up. So now you're back at the healthcare aspect of it. You back to remodeling your home because now you have to accommodate for that.
Right.
A lot to think about.
Right.
Which now brings me into schools again. Again, what if you are not able to send your child to school because they have to be vaccinated? I know children, in order to go to preschool, they have to show their vaccinations. So with that, there's going to be a rise in virtual learning. There's going to be a rise in homeschooling. What's going to happen to the teachers?
Well, now some of the teachers may survive it, but not all of them. Not all of them. They're not going to need them, because if you're going to be social distancing in the classroom, that may lead to your needing more teachers, but then all of the classrooms are not going to be being used, right? Something's going to happen. It's going to have to be restructured some type of way.
What they're going to do probably is either create bigger schools, which is going to take time, or they're going to start with more trailers, which we're already having issues with in some places. Where are they going to put these trailers? How are the children going to get to the trailers? So that also leads us into school buses.
School buses having to be restructured. They have to follow that 6-foot distancing rule. The mask may be mandatory by then. Everybody's going to have a mask. You can't opt out of it. Unless you have some medical issue.
But then that means more busings, more buses to transport the children back and forth. So think of the created travel, as well as what that's going to do to more and more people on the road.
Or what if they take buses away, period, and now you have to drive your child to school?
They couldn't do that. Too many kids would be unable to go. What about parents who go to work at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning? What are you going to do with your child?
I understand that, but let's say you send your child to school to go on a bus, but a parent won't allow their child to wear a mask because they don't believe in it. So now they come to school with COVID, sitting next to your child.
Lot to think about.
Because there's that 14-day waiting period where we don't know if the person is asymptomatic. They could be a carrier sitting next to your child. Now, what do you do in that situation? So now 14 days later, you get the letter that says there was a child at your school that had COVID-19. Come to find out, your child was sitting next to them.
And quarantine the whole school and all the buses.
Yes.
And if you think about it, they may have one of the things I've heard them say is about staggering school attendance. You know, the kids go different times. That's going to lead to buses, if they have the buses, using more gasoline, which is going to raise somebody's going to have to pay for it.
Right.
So,
And them being able to eat in the cafeteria all
yes,
together.
yes.
Okay.
And as we see now, it's going to change how school dances are done and graduations are done. And another thing that is blowing my mind at this point in time, because I was an avid person for going to college and extending the learning out after your preliminary education. What is college looking like now? Because if everything's moving over to virtual, there's no need for college classrooms anymore.
That's right.
They can take classes at home. So where the dormitories, those are gone, because they can do it at home. So then what about the fact that nowadays you don't necessarily need a degree to be efficient in your profession?
Hey, you don't need a degree to be unemployed.
That's true.
Very
People are racking up a lot of bills behind going to college when it's not necessary anymore. Job security is not even something, that's a thing of the past, because and then let's say you went to school for this one profession. Let's say what can we say?
Master's degree in economic policies.
Well, that one kind of plays into effect right now, so we can't use that one.
Okay.
How about a psychologist or a psychiatrist? Now, that may not pay. Well, a lot of people are going to need them with what's going on.
Well, let's say anything that you can do as a consultant, because as a consultant, all you have to do in order to be a consultant is to be professional or know a lot about one subject.
Right.
I can do that at home. I can take online free classes at home, not get a degree, and be a consultant. So I don't have to go to college in order to do that. I don't have to pay thousands of dollars on an education when I can sit home and do free classes, become a consultant, and make a lot of money at it. Especially if I provide enough of a service to people in order to do it.
If you have enough people,
I've seen people make a lot of money just being consultants and getting themselves out there on social media and making a lot of money, especially right now where everything's shut down because they're doing online classes. That opens a whole entire market up for people, and they didn't even have to finish school.
Yeah, there's
or
some
have
people,
the loans.
right?
Right. Finish
A lot of people can just do this and print it out on the computer. I'm Dr. So-and-so, or I'm consultant so-and-so, and they haven't done a thing.
Right.
Right. That's...
So that leads us into job security. With the unemployment rate skyrocketing and staying at a high level, higher than we've ever seen in the history. I can't even begin to start down that path. Just thinking about how many calls I've had inquiring about unemployment, inquiring about how their case is going, and I can't even answer because we don't handle the unemployment cases. We have to redirect them back to the state that's backed up. So that conversation I dread having. Whenever someone calls about that, I'm like...
and what about the fact that unemployment is running out? What happens when they don't have any unemployment? What do people do? What is there for them to do?
The future looks bleak, but hang on.
So the last one that I want to bring up is technology. We could go down so many avenues with technology.
Well, let me just say this. At 76, I am technologically illiterate. And I know there's a lot of people who are at my age. So what do we do? What do we do when everything is, you pick up the phone to do this? when everything is, you get on the PC to do this. You can't even turn your television on now without having 4 or 5 gadgets that you're trying to figure out. So, okay, where do we go?
Well, I mean, honestly, the best answer for that is you got some classes to take. You got
but I'm an extraordinary 76-year-old.
That's true.
So if I'm having problems, what about someone who really
Technological.
I don't have you people around me. They don't have you around to. When I get into trouble, I can ask you. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
And especially with how things are moving so fast now, it's hard for me to even keep up. So I can only imagine someone who has never had to do it, or is just learning how to do it,
or can't do it because their hands don't move.
Right.
And
then affording the technology to be able to do it. So
that's true.
I've seen where they're making progression for handicapped people to be able to do certain things, but how can they afford those things? What about someone who is low income that needs those adaptabilities or the technology? How do they get it? With that is another thing. Like, these different things that we were talking about leads us to wonder even more how our future is going to turn out. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful, because I know we move out of things as people very quickly. We rebound from things very quickly, but we've never been here. We've never been in this particular place before.
But now the one thing that you said, yes, we rebound. But what about those that didn't rebound? What happens to them? What happens to them?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of automated processes that we're going to have to get used to. Money. They're talking about getting rid of money and moving everything over to electronic credit cards. What's the new one?
Debit card, credit card.
The
e-wallet.
Bitcoins. And e-wallets. How?
Right. You say to me, e-wallet. E-what?
Right.
I mean.
And that's a concept I'm just getting my head around with all of that. So I can only imagine someone who's never even had technology and trying to move into that space.
There are some people who don't even use a credit card now. They don't know how. There's some people who don't even have bank accounts now.
That's right.
So what do you do?
That's very true. So a lot of people's dreams and hopes are going to be put on pause and hold and stopped if they don't start planning for the future. And that was our main thing, and things we wanted to get these questions out, because people are not thinking about these things, these long-term things that could definitely affect their lives, definitely have impact, and could leave someone hopeless because they failed to plan. So we wanted just to be able to say, there's a way out. There's a way that you can get over the hurdle. What you have to do is live and stay connected. You have to be a part of things. You have to get out there and learn and be able to create things, put your hands on things. And one thing that we have found to be very, very instrumental in maneuvering COVID-19 and a pandemic and all of those different things, which is a home-based business.
Yes.
Now, when you say home-based business, people back up. It's like, nope, not for me. But we have to learn to get out of the box.
Yes.
Especially as older people. We have to get out of the box and tear the box up and start over again.
Yeah, and not be afraid. Not be afraid to know that there's new ways of living, and don't let fear keep you in the box, because it's time really that we need to do some adjusting. COVID is not going away, so we have to find ways to be creative. I hear again, if we listen, we'll live, and if we live, we'll create legacies. And that's what it's all about. We are creating a legacy right here, talking to one another and figuring out how home-based business has helped us tremendously to do some great things. And you can get into a home-based business that will give you all of the necessary needs that you're looking for. We have one that my granddaughter is going to share more about.
I'm not your granddaughter.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's not my granddaughter. She's my daughter. She's her granddaughter.
Yes, she's my granddaughter.
But one thing I loved hearing is when we think about the people that are wealthy, what did they do in order to get there? One of the things that they had to take on is having multiple streams of income. So we had to look at Oprah. What does she have her hands in? She has she has TV shows, plural. She has a magazine. She has endorsements. She has her own channel. So she has different ways of making money. So if her magazine went somewhere, if it flopped, she could fall back on her TV shows. If the TV shows flop, she has her endorsements. So you have to gear yourself into having multiple streams of income. And for other people, multiple hustles, if you want to put it that way. So that in having an extra stream of income, because we know just by how the unemployment rate is going, that job that you had, it can go at any time. Job security is not there anymore. So to have a home-based business where you can redirect your spending, redirect the money that you're putting out to make it come back to you and multiply. I'm not just stay stagnant, multiply. Because if in a home-based business, there are taxes that you can write off that you would never be able to see if you did it any other kind of way. For instance, you can hire your children and pay them a salary and write that off on your taxes. You can only do that with a home-based business. Can you imagine the kind of wealth and income you can create in your own family by paying your child? Because now you don't have to buy them gifts. You're paying them a salary. That redirects back into your home. Your money did not go anywhere. You paid your child. It didn't leave your house to pay another employee. You paid your child. Then you're getting it back on your taxes, which came right back into your pocket. So only with a home-based business can you do that. Now, multiply that by using your own products. So if you have a home-based business that you're paying yourself to use your own products, pay your children to advertise those products, to clean up behind those products, to create your social media. Now you just paid yourself to use products, paid your children in your home, paid your taxes are coming back to you. That's 3 ways right there that you kept your money in your pocket. And I'm sorry, I just had one more thing. And with the company that we're a part of, we have 8 different ways that we possibly can get paid from. 8 different ways. I don't know any company out there that is doing that. So I'm an avid person for compensation plans and companies that have wonderful compensation plans, like the company we are a part of. They have a patent on their compensation plan. It is so great. I mean, the company I work for they're not doing this. They're not doing this. Any company that I've ever worked for in mainstream is not doing this. There's no multi-level marketing company doing that. So if you have the mindset of wanting to redirect your spending, wanting to keep the money in your pocket, create legacy through your children, create financial wealth, all of that, home-based business is where it's at. You will find out a lot of information by having your own home-based business. And I'm sorry, I know you wanted to talk.
And I mean, everything that you said, it makes you secure.
Yes.
It makes you secure. But the greatest thing about the company that we have, that's your company. It is yours. You're not working for anybody but yourself. And then the products, so healthy, they are gold standard. I mean, I look forward to having a cocktail in the morning. And it's not a regular cocktail. I'm not talking about going to a bar. I have a Nourish drink that's mixed with a 5X. It's called 5X. It's made from seaweed. Seaweed that goes in there. I have greens, 2 pounds of greens. Now I know I don't eat 2 pounds of greens, but we'll take it. It's called giving greens. You have 2 scoops. You put it in water, or you put it in your cocktail. Okay, I'm just saying. It's healthy. I'm just saying. You may not want to hear
what she's trying to say is you can take control of your life.
Yes.
Wealth-wise, you can take control of your life. Health-wise.
Yes.
And you can have the government paying you. How about that?
I'm just saying.
So
I'm so
all those
healthy. I
things
can't
are
stand
great
it.
to know and great to do. And we were just sitting around the round table thinking about it. And so we wanted to share with you, give you an opportunity to join us. We would like to share more with you. And with that being said, get back to us, but think about your future. Think about where your family's going. Think about your legacy and you being able to direct all of that and gear it all towards you all winning, because that's what we want to do. We want to share how to win. All right?
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you guys listening and hope to see you on one of our Zooms. We are the Power of 4. My name is Shannon.
My name is Gloria.
And my name is Cheryl.
And we are the Power of 4.
All righty.